In what way we manifest extraordinary abilities in extreme situations? We had a question on how we manifest extraordinary abilities in extreme situations, which are not peculiar to a human, or as we found out, which are peculiar to us in the future. When some situation takes place and total unfolding of the future scenarios occurs via NVKs. As we understand, first, nuclear genome creators obtain information. Then they generate an impulse, and necessary parts of the human organism respond on it. Why nuclear genome creators obtain information in the first place, in particular creators regulators? Because only they have connection to our development scenarios, to development scenarios of this person and of many persons in general who structure human PVKs. Only because of that. Without nuclear genome, they could not be able to figure out, to contrast resonationally what they have with the version which mostly correspond to what they possess in accordance with NVK data. Because mitochondrial genome creators are connected to the own information, to the own subterranean ODSs, to the own NVK sections. Right now, they have some kind of state on the information level which they have obtained. Where should they hook this information on if they don't have a mechanism for implementation of the information already realized in NVK? They don't know where to use it, meaning they should necessarily interact with nuclear genome creators. You really need to understand that, why everything is implemented via nuclear genome. And you shouldn't forget about the fact that nuclear genome is present in every neuron. I think this is confusing for you because you project nuclear genome on the total human body and forget that this mechanism of comparison of human PVKs groups with former shapes of human new time continuums groups is available in every somatic cell. After all, everything is available in NVK, various protoformic stories develop, and many other things happen. But they are not accessible to our nuclear genome creators. What's going on with this rabbit, which I stare at, or which I have accidentally shot, etc.? What's going on with it? Unclear. I am able to revise this only through myself, through my attitude to the given self-consciousness form. Since namely nuclear genome creators have direct connection with NVK human groups, and with our personal interpretations, information unpacking and conversion in our focus dynamics comes through them. Required systems of human organism respond on the impulse which they generate, including certain neuronal nets. Mitochondrial genome creators give the response, first of all. The response is on the information translated out of nuclear genome. They allow creators, interpretators, who accept this information from creators, regulators, to compare with what they have available, with opportunities they have. Through reticular formation, out of all receptors in total through which information comes to mitochondrial genome. They know all do's and don'ts. Creators, interpreters are limited by these or those abilities basically on their instructions. Further, we talked about which mechanism works in stress situations. For example, when a person has to jump over a 20-foot wall in order to save their life. Otherwise, dogs will bite them to death. The person is going to do this. The success of this action will depend on the configurations which they focus on at the moment, namely exactly when they start to make this jump. And the question arises, how multipolarization is being manifested here? This situation could be compared with athletes' performances at the Olympics, when they have many attempts. Though an athlete comes through the attempt every time, but in this case, after a failed attempt, revitalization of the person and sort of repetition of this situation occur until the person reaches that kind of the own form which will have enough resources to realize the designed action. Either they refocus to that scenario where they continue to exist in the other conditions, where mortal danger has passed and in no way affected them, or this danger has affected them just partially. They have become cripples or something else. Meaning, they continue to focus in the perception system which has not passed through that maximal abilities threshold, which they have experienced somewhere in the other scenarios. They have chosen completely different scenarios and were not put into this situation. Yes, there is an opportunity to learn to control and use such abilities which manifest in such extreme situations. This will be accessible to us in the future when we synthesize the particular protoformic abilities inside ourselves. We will use these abilities in the direction of serving people, consciously and differently. Now we talk about lifting heavy loads, which happens due to telekinesis abilities in the future, and the jump over some wall will be sort of teleportation mechanism which will manifest in this way. Yes,